Hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining us on an introduction to Microsoft Copilot with Word, PowerPoint, Outlook and Teams. I hope everyone's looking forward to the Christmas break and we really appreciate your time again this afternoon. My name's Luke. I head up the IT department here at Zim Software, and today, if you've been taking part in the other webinars where we've had Becca on the call helping me out. She's on holiday today, so I've got my colleague Ethan. He's on the call as well, who's going to help out with any questions at the end. So welcome. So for those of you who don't know, we've been doing a AI series with Microsoft Copilot. This is the third webinar of our AI series. Hopefully everyone who has seen the others has found the previous webinars useful, and you'll find this afternoon's webinar just as helpful. Please reach out to us at the end if you feel Microsoft Copilot would benefit your business, even if we don't support your IT, because we're happy to help. So as I explained, we're at Zim are giving our customers a series, and we've been trying to demo the latest AI capabilities that Microsoft has to offer through Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. Rather than show you how Copilot works in every single product in one webinar, what we've done is we've broken this down to a series. And we started the series with going through Microsoft Teams premium product, where we demoed how you can get AI to generate meeting notes for you, show you real-time language translation as well, as asking questions during and after the meeting so you can recap on what's happened during the meeting through Teams. The second webinar we did was how AI works with Microsoft Excel. So we went through how we can use AI to interrogate your data, giving you some really useful data insights. But if you missed the first couple of webinars, then this is on our YouTube channel, so you can listen back. Along with this one as well, this one would also be loaded up onto YouTube. As I mentioned, Becca is off today, so this might not be online until the new year. But if you put Sim Software into YouTube, and then you'll find it. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss Copilot in PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, and Teams. I'll be combining these products because they have very kind of similar features. They use something called generative AI, which is where it generates data for you, text, images, where Excel and Teams previously in the other webinars was kind of interrogating the data that's already there. But the feature list is not quite as long as something like Excel, but we're going to try and discuss obviously all those features today. So if we look at the agenda, Microsoft launched Microsoft Copilot last year, and this is their flagship AI product, and they are making a lot of noise about this at the moment. For those who have been on part of our previous webinars, we'll start with a quick video, just giving you an idea of what Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 is. And then I'll do a live demo of using Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 in PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, and Teams. Finally, we will go through pricing, as well as giving you an opportunity to ask any questions that you have. And you'll notice at the top of the screen, you'll have a Q&A button. So please feel free to click on this and ask any questions that you might have. It's all anonymous, so just please put your questions in there during the webinar, and then we can go through the questions at the end. The next webinar will be Microsoft Custom Copilots. I'll explain that at the end, but unlike Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, which just plugs into your 365 data, custom copilots are personalized to your business and your business only. We can build custom copilots which become dedicated AI assistants for you and your colleagues, and for you and your colleagues. So that understands your unique workflows, anticipates your needs, and seamlessly integrates with your existing tools and systems. So whether it's CRM, HR systems, project management software, or communication platforms, we can create custom copilots that can plug into these solutions and publish these directly to you. So Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, which we will look at today, will be plugging into your Microsoft 365 data, and that includes email, SharePoint data, OneDrive data, etc. Where with custom copilots, we can extend this to have all kinds of possibilities. For those of you who use our Sim 200 and Sim 50 software, we're in the early stages of exploring what a custom copilot would look like plugged into our own products. So we can get the AI to ask questions such as, what was my revenue from last month? How much do I have X in stock, etc. So before we make a start to our demos today, a few of you may be asking, what is Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365? And as I said, it's a AI companion that sits in your Microsoft 365 applications, such as PowerPoint, Word, Excel, and Outlook. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what Copilot can do. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and actually kind of demo a little bit about some of the stuff that you just saw in the video there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, I think, with PowerPoint um, and give you an idea of basically what it can do. So Ethan is going to kindly say, yes, he can see this on screen, if you wouldn't mind. So you should be able to see PowerPoint on the screen.
Yeah, all good.
All good. Thank you very much. So we're going to start with very PowerPoint. And I mentioned generative AI earlier, and that basically is the process of generating content. So you'll notice here that you've got a Copilot button here and you've got a Copilot button here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually get PowerPoint to kind of essentially create something. Now, you've got some chat window down there, and you've also got the same kind of thing here, which basically gets you to ask the same kind of questions, really. But what we're going to do is just create a basic presentation. And I've just chosen the solar system for no real reason, to be honest with you. But what it's going to do is actually generate a presentation regarding the solar system, and you'll see the slides start to pop up on the left-hand side. Now, I'm doing this live because I want to kind of give you an idea of like how quickly this can actually be generated. So this is all happening in real time. I'm not speeding this up or anything like that, but you can kind of see very quickly that with some very limited information, it's kind of created, obviously, our presentation, etc. Now, I'm not particularly, this presentation to me is not like looking particularly clear. So one of the things that we can actually do is ask it to organize the presentation. So if we want to organize it, what we should see is that it starts to kind of like chapterize the presentation for us. And then we can have like an agenda, etc. And we can kind of start to build a little bit about expand on the presentation that's actually already been generated. Now, what I would say with the generative AI kind of things is that it's really quite good to kind of get over that writer's block, that not really quite sure where to start kind of thing. You can get something quite basic and quite quick up and running quite quickly, and then you can kind of start to kind of change it around for you. So here, one thing that one notice when I've actually created this is actually what I want to do with this particular page is I just want to grab another photo online. So I appreciate that this particular page is about the sun, but if I ask it for a photo, of the moon, then not only can it go out and get text and generate images and text, but I can actually just ask it to actually go off and get different images as well. So very quickly, I can kind of, create presentations by asking it to go and capture images for me from using AI and just build the presentation that way. And also what's quite useful is that it actually generates the speaker notes as well. So as you're giving the presentation, the speaker notes are there for you as well. So not only does it generate content, but it can kind of help you a little bit with the presentation. So now you've got your presentation, what questions might the audience ask about this presentation? And then it kind of helps you just give you some example questions. And again, I'm like doing this real time. This is not being speeded up. This is actually how fast it is to use. And then lastly, with PowerPoint, what I'm gonna show you is that you may be sent this presentation. Maybe it's like 20 slides long for whatever reason. Can you summarize it for me? I'm not going to go through every slide, but can you just give me a rough idea of what this presentation's about? And then basically it'll just kind of quickly give you that snapshot on the right-hand side. And it will reference where it's actually got that information from, which slide, etc., because it's got the citations at the bottom there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that as planets presentation. And there's a reason why I'm going to save it, because what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to refer back to this in a second. And what I'm going to demo to you is how you can reference files. So you might have seen in the video where it asks you to kind of generate something from another file. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this planets presentation to kind of essentially do that shortly. So let's move on to Word. So here's an empty document. And what we're going to do is just have a little fun with this. But there is a reason why I'm going to do this. Again, it relates to kind of calling back and referencing these files, later on in the demo. So, can we create a children's story of a business owner called Bob? There's some real problems with his manufacturing, and he wants to speak to Sim software to help solve this manufacturing issues. So, it will generate this story based on the information that we have given it. So you can kind of quickly see that it's kind of generated that really quickly, but you can use this for obviously business documentation. Can you create an HR policy? Can you create a fire procedure policy? Anything that you can kind of think of, you can just put into this chat and just kind of just get you started with it. Now, this is in blue, if you notice, and this is because it's been drafted and it's waiting for me to actually accept that final draft as actually we can push it in to kind of keep it. But what I want to do actually is make it funnier. So it's going to actually rewrite that and kind of make it funnier about Bob and his toilet roll business. And what we're going to do here is we're going to keep this. So we'll keep that. And then actually what we can do is we can use this Inspire Me button, which basically it just keeps going. It just carries on writing the story. So it's pulling more things together and then it just keeps going and going. So you can kind of extend this further and further and further, basically. So we're going to keep this. So I'm going to save this again. Just going to call it Bob for the moment. And then what I'm going to do is create a new document. And what we're going to try and do is remember our planets presentation, which you can see in the back. So let me just bring this in. What we're going to do is we're going to actually ask it to write some speaker notes, but we're going to reference the planets presentation. So what it's actually doing is it's referenced the presentation that I've just created in PowerPoint, and then now it's actually generated me some speaker notes for me, ready for me to present that PowerPoint presentation. So within a matter of, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, we've created a PowerPoint presentation and the speaker notes to go through it. Can you make this more detailed for me? Because I'm not happy that, again, it's in blue, it's drafted, and you can see that it's disappeared. And you can see now we've got a little bit more complexity in regards to the planets, etc. And this is basically, you know, generative AI. It's generating that content, but it's referencing another product and another file, apologies, with PowerPoint. So that's a good example of it referencing back. And then we can create emails off the back of that. Can you summarize send this PowerPoint and just send a quick summary to this person referencing this PowerPoint, and it will generate the email, etc., etc. So each individual products, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, they'll all kind of talk to each other because you can create content by referencing the data that's already present within your 365 tenant, should I say. So let's just have a little quick look at Outlook. And what I've done is I've just bringing in my mailbox. So hopefully Ethan's going to go, yes, I can see this for me. So
Yep, we're all good.
yeah, brilliant. Okay, so again, if we go to new message, I can draft an email. So this is very similar to the word generation that you just saw. So we're going to help me write an email to my colleague Steve asking me a question about Sim50 install. Sim50, for those who don't know, is one of our core products that we have, and I've got this error message. So it's actually going to generate the draft for me, and then it's just basically essentially written the email for me. By the way, what you can do is you can link up your microphone to Copilot. So rather than actually, I know I'm copying and pasting and obviously typing, but you could in theory just talk to it and say, can you generate a presentation based on the solar system? And then it will just, you know, you can just basically talk into it and it will generate, use the AI to kind of generate your content for you. So it's generated that email. I'm going to keep it, and you can see it's kept the signature for me, and I can obviously tweak it, etc., etc. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so that's a very quick example of how it can actually generate an email. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to generate another one, and this time I'm just going to type it in with the same kind of essentially the same message, but you can see it's a little bit informal. And what Copilot has is what's called coaching. So if you click coaching, it will actually review the email that I've got. So if you've got a real lengthy email and it doesn't really read right, rather than rewriting it or asking colleagues to kind of give it a once over, you can use Copilot that can actually help you. And it's highlighted basically that, you know, it could be a bit more professional, show a little bit more appreciation and a bit more clarity. Obviously, this is quite a direct example. I've gone a little bit extreme here, but it's there to kind of invoke Copilot to ask me to actually change it. So, okay, let's see what actually happens. Let me just apply those, and it's rewritten it, and I can then click replace. And now this is my email that I've got. I'm using the browser here, but this is also plugged into Outlook application that you are familiar with, obviously. Now, we did this as a test yesterday and today. So if we come back to this email here, Outlook's probably got the best feature, I would say, which is the summary Copilot. So if we have a look a little here, you've got the same email that I put together there. And Steve said, because he loves darts, by the way, sounds great. Currently working on the World Darts Championship marketing. I said, sounds great. I hear the darts marketing project is going well. When's it due? And he says, not until the end of January, blah, blah, blah. And then we keep going. And I forwarded this to Ethan asking how his holiday was. Have you got any ideas regarding the message below? And he's given me the answer. Now, you've got obviously, I mean, we all get this. We've got signatures, signatures, signatures. You know, the content is kind of almost lost in this string. But if we click summary by Copilot, what it does is it just scans through the emails and just summarizes the content rather than just sifting through and reading it. So you can see here I've asked Steve, and then I've asked Ethan, and then he's provided the steps to resolve the issue by renaming a file in the app data folder. So that, for me, is probably something that I personally use a lot. If you, especially when someone forwards you an email, you've lost content, you don't know what's going on, you don't have any context as to why you've received the email. So hopefully, just by clicking on that in itself, that will save a lot of time. I personally don't use the draft person, you know, I don't use this quite as much, but the summary feature is definitely something that use quite a lot. And then if there's an email, a lengthy email that I'm not really quite sure, if it reads right, the coaching feature is like a really good feature there. So finally, I'm going to show you the Teams Copilot. So this is your, I would say, your home page. This is probably the one application that you will use the most. It's where you will be able to drill into all your files. It doesn't generate content at all, but it's really good for kind of searching, really good for querying, and it's just basically where you go to kind of start off really. So in here, if I just if just as an example, if I can you find me an email from Steve about an error message and darts marketing? I can't find this email like anywhere. Now we all know that the Outlook search can be a little bit kind of frustrating, but this basically is like, sure, yeah, it's found it, bang, and then you can click on that and it will just pop up. But not only that, it gives you kind of content within the email, so you can kind of just get the information that you want without actually having to go into the email itself. So if I ask it, and this is useful as well, because if there's something that you just, for us as well, we get like error messages, but then you've got solutions that are kind of being sent to customers within emails, which we've then seen and we've filed, but we just can't find it. Like, where is that? How do we fix that problem? And it will just find it for us. And that goes back to the email that I showed you a minute ago with Ethan showing me obviously how to actually solve that problem. I haven't got anything, any blurbs, nothing. It's filtered that out for me and it's just given me exactly what I need. Now, if you go back and remember Bob and his story about his toilet roll business, and he actually had to ask a company to kind of help him with his IT. What's the company that helped Bob with his IT for his toilet rolls? Hopefully, because oh, now it doesn't actually find it. Classic. There we go. We can forward slash, by the way, and actually forward slash to actually find the document, so you can reference the document. So my first query was probably a little bit vague for the actual AI. It's not sure what I actually mean, but what you can actually do is you can kind of, rather than the AI search your whole data set, if you know which file it's actually in, because we've got a lot of like policies, big documentation relating to some of our customers, we can just forward slash customer name, and then the AI will just focus on that document, and you can see that it's basically queried that document and found the information that we want. If you were eagle-eyed, you would have noticed that Ethan, when he replied to his error message, with the error message solution, he was on holiday. I was asking him how his holiday was, and he actually replied, or where it went. There we go. He recently went on holiday to Cologne. He mentioned the cathedral in Cologne was breathtaking. And that's because if I find it here, you'll see it's found it within that. So at the moment, what it's doing is actually like querying. So you could think of, hopefully you're all thinking of examples about how this actually be helpful for your business, because we're just playing around with some real like basic test data here that we've kind of created. Within the demo, we've created a PowerPoint presentation about planets and a story about Bob and some test emails back and forward. But if we just extend that to kind of like a huge estate of your data, where all your data basically resides within your Microsoft 365, you and your colleagues can just basically ask Teams some really basic questions, and it will actually just give you the answers. This is linked into my kind of work email, so I can't unfortunately like show you exactly how that works, but I can type in, can you summarize my emails from the last 7 days, and it will just basically tell me all the important ones. What's the Wi-Fi password for this particular customer, because we've got this in a document somewhere, and it will just tell me basically. So hopefully that gives you like a really good understanding of Copilot for Teams, Copilot for Outlook, Word, and PowerPoint. And again, we're referencing different files from different applications to kind of build that data using generative AI. So if I go back to... So over the course of the AI series, we've demoed some of the features that you get with Microsoft Copilot for 365. But please note, Microsoft Copilot for 365 is not just limited to looking at your Microsoft 365 data, but this includes your email, OneDrive data, SharePoint data, Teams meeting, and it also utilizes the power of generative AI to create content, as we've just seen. But the next stage with AI is that we can start to look to plug into other data and services as well, which I've mentioned earlier, which is your HR systems, for example, databases, CRM systems, to create custom help desk systems for your employees or customers. So as mentioned earlier, we're in the early stages of doing that as well, to try and integrate that into our own application. But you can see that artificial intelligence is here already and is changing how people are working by making them more efficient and productive. It's already helping companies work smarter, adapt quickly, as well as giving people the power to innovate with this new technology. So with Copilot Studio, this is where we kind of extend Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 into your other data. I hope you can feel inspired by what you can do with Microsoft Copilot, but you could have situations where your colleagues could be asking Copilot, what's the company policy on holiday leave? And the Copilot just tells you. What do I need to do when a customer has a problem with product X? Copilot just tells you. Write an email response to this customer thanking them for the order, and it does it. And what's the latest potential big order from this particular customer? And Copilot will tell you by gathering all the emails, documents, and meetings and summarizing this to you in a quick Microsoft Teams chat. But just to recap, when you have Microsoft Copilot, this is a single product that sits within all your Microsoft 365 Office products. You cannot buy Copilot for Word on its own, or just Copilot for Excel on its own. So, how much? Well, Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 is £24.70 per user per month on an annual license. We've only just gone over PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, and Teams today, but this also includes Excel and Teams in meetings, which have been covered in previous webinars. So the Teams in meetings, just to let you know, is more interrogating the meeting itself. During a meeting, what you can use is Copilot to ask, can you summarize the meeting? What have I missed? What did such and such say about this? What are the action points for this meeting? And it will tell you down the right hand side about what has been discussed and gives you like a really useful assistant to your meetings when you use it in Teams. Again, please have a look at our YouTube channel, which includes our previous webinars. And for those of you who use Sim 50 and Sim 200, there's also some useful webinars and demos about these products as well. I appreciate that at £24.70, this is one of the more expensive products that Microsoft offers you, but I assure you, you will save hours and hours of work using this. You'll see an increase in productivity, and it'll be quickly become apparent when you start using this. So if Copilot is something of interest to you in your business, then reach out to us or your current IT provider if you have your IT supported elsewhere, and we can certainly discuss this further. We're happy to have one-to-one conversations about how this would work for you in your business. We can discuss Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, or maybe some custom Copilots that I mentioned earlier, where we can create custom AI assistants tailored to your specific needs. I'll be doing another webinar with the introduction of custom Copilots. It's quite a complicated product in itself because Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 is there, ready out of the box. With a custom Copilot, we would need to build them from the ground up. And what we will do is we'll kind of build a few and then kind of show you how that works. But that would be kind of tailored to the request and the requirements of the business itself. As I said earlier, you may have a particular system that you would want Copilot to interrogate, such as a CRM system, an HR system, and so forth. And we'll be going through that on the next webinar sometime in the early next year. So that concludes the webinar. And just want to say thanks very much and have a happy Christmas. I imagine a lot of you are finishing tomorrow. I just want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions. I'm not sure Ethan's been keeping an eye on the Q&A, but you've got my email address down in the bottom right-hand corner. Feel free to reach out, can have a chat over the phone. Hopefully, people have seen a little bit of value about what actually Copilot can do for you. And yeah, I just want to say thank you very much and have a really good Christmas. Ethan, have we got any questions?
We've got one posted in here. Does Microsoft offer a trial of Copilot?
So unfortunately, they've invested a lot of money into Copilot, and no, they are not offering a trial. They are very keen and they are pushing a lot of incentives through for customers to take this up. But they don't unfortunately offer a trial. The other thing that they don't unfortunately do is give you Copilot on a month by month basis. So you will have to commit to an annual, so it'll be something like £300 for the year, give or take. But you'll be paying for that monthly, so it comes in at around about £24.70 a month. What I would say is that it would be really useful if you are interested in Copilot. I would roll it out to maybe one, possibly two users within the business. And if you do decide to go down that route, I would lean away from giving it to the business owners per se. The people kind of that are working day in day out on the on Microsoft Office products consistently would be the people that would be really good to use to kind of test it. They will push it hard, and then you'll be able to use that as a kind of a guide to whether to roll it out to the rest of the business. Any more?
Somebody's asked, okay, what extent does Copilot have to access the data? How much access do they have? Is it all the data on your computer, or is it somewhere in between?
So it works with OneDrive and SharePoint essentially, and it designates you as the user. So if you've got access to something, then Copilot will be able to interrogate it. However, as an IT admin, we can help you kind of lock down certain areas of the business and in terms of your data so that the AI does not query it. So you may have financial information in SharePoint that you don't want anyone to kind of touch, but you still want it in SharePoint kind of thing, and that can actually be configured and locked down. But anything on your OneDrive system and SharePoint system, it will be able to query. But just to let you know, it won't query anything local on your machine. This is all 365. Anything stored in 365, that's where it can kind of touch. So if anyone's got any like further questions or concerned about that in terms of security, because I appreciate I haven't really touched on security at all, really much in this series, then yeah, have a chat. Any more?
No, that looks good. That is all for today.
Cool. Thanks very much for taking part, everyone. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight about what we can do, and what Copilot can do for your business. So yeah, have a really good Christmas, really good break, and then feel free to pick up the phone or send us an email if you've got any questions. But yeah, very much appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Thank you.